What is the letter of intent? Now, thousands of people around the world, if not millions, actually apply for scholarships from different countries. Now, these scholarship programs are actually trying to give all these students an opportunity to study, but unfortunately, they are not able to give every student, every single student that applies, the opportunity because probably they are not able to finance every student around the world. After all, millions of students are applying, and this would actually prove difficult. So, in order to select a number of students among all these millions of students applying, they require that you write a letter of intent or an intent letter so that you'll go through this intent letter to ensure that they are giving the scholarship to the right people. One thing is that these scholarship programs do not only consider academic performance, but they look at other aspects like the social performance and basically experiences that you have had in your academic work. It is with this reason that they actually give the opportunity for you to write an intent letter so that you'll go through your intent letter. Now, as the name states, intent letter, it is basically a letter that shows your intent for applying for a scholarship. But actually, there are some specific details that your intent letter must have in order for it to be considered when the scholarship program, boards are going through your application. Now, in this video, I'm actually going to list all these requirements, all these required details for you, and we're actually going to try and start writing an intent letter. So I'll actually start from the introduction, I'll go through the body, and then we'll look at the conclusion. So now let's start with the required details that must be seen in your intent letter. Before I start, let me just clarify one thing. I am not actually doing this video for only those applying for the Turkey Bursary, which is the Turkey scholarships. I am actually doing this video for those who are actually willing to write a very good intent letter for any type of scholarship that they are trying to apply for. But I'm actually doing this as also, a plus video to my previous Turkey Bursary videos. Now let's get started. Before I start listing the required details that are needed in your intent letter, I have to also state one thing. Even though it is called an intent letter, which basically means that you have to show what your intents are for this scholarship program, you must actually express yourself and also try to stand out from the others. You are supposed to tell them, why should I be accepted for your scholarship program? These things that make you stand out do not necessarily have to be only academic stuff. They can be social stuff like sports, and other kinds of things like that, or even public debates or other things. So if you've won these kind of awards or you've gotten these kind of achievements, you can also tell them about it in your intent letter. Number one is your academic experience relating to the field of education that you want to apply for, which is whether it's undergraduate or master's or whatever. So actually, you have to state what kind of experiences as an achievement. Even if you don't have any achievement, you can just state that I have actually taken a science course. For example, someone who is going to apply for engineering or medicine will state that I completed 3 years of science course in high school. And even this is enough. This is enough. You don't need to dive too much. But if you have other, we'll move to the other things that you have to state. But for the educational part, if you know you don't have any achievements like being the overall best student or even having some grade, let's say you're top five, you're mostly top five in your class or something like that. If you don't have these ones, you can just tell them that you successfully completed 3 years of high school in whether it's general arts, whether it's science, whether it's a business course, depending on the course that you are going to apply for. But please make sure that you apply for courses that are in relation to the courses that you previously studied. For example, you cannot study science and expect that you'll be accepted for a business course. That's not possible. So make sure that the course that you actually studied for in high school is actually related to the course that you're trying to apply for in any scholarship that you are trying to apply for. Number two is your social experience. It may be related to the course you're going to do, or it may not also be related. It does not really matter. You just need to state the social experiences that you've had, whether you have some achievements in the sports field. Maybe you're a very good basketballer or a very good footballer or a soccer player. You can state all these things in your intent letter. If you've also participated in maybe debates outside and then you've won them and maybe you have proof of it, maybe you have these awards, or even if you don't have awards, you can just state that you won these kind of awards in these kind of social activities, whether it's swimming, debate. It may be quite academically related or maybe quite physically related in terms of sports or other things. It does not really matter. You can just state any social experience that you've had, whether in relation to the course you want to apply for or whether it's unrelated to the course that you want to apply for. It doesn't matter. Number three is your reason for choosing the country that you are applying to for your studies. So, whatever country the scholarship program is going to take place, you have to actually state the reason why you chose that scholarship, the reason why you chose that country in order to, forward your goals, in order to go to whether it's university, which is the undergraduate degree, or whether you want to further on your tertiary education, which is going for master's or PhD. You actually have to tell them the reason why you chose that country in order to do these things, because they are wondering, why did you choose my country, why didn't you choose any other country? There are so many countries. For example, if you're applying for Turkey Bursary, which is the Turkey scholarships, you have to actually tell them your reason why you are applying for their scholarship. Why didn't you go for another one, but you are choosing to come to their country, which is Turkey, to study? So you have to tell them the reason for choosing Turkey as your place of study. And it doesn't really matter. It can be other countries, whether in the Netherlands, in the USA. You have to tell those organizing the scholarship program why you decided to choose their scholarship program and also their country. The fourth one is actually a set of information, which is actually your future plans. So you have to state what your future plans are, and you have to relate it to your reason why you are choosing the country that you are choosing to apply for. The scholarship that you're trying to apply for, you have to actually relate the information. So, for example, you can say that, oh, I'm actually planning to become a doctor in future, and I heard that, or I've done some research and I found out that, let me use Turkey as an example. Now, from my research, I found out that Turkey has some of the best doctors around the world, and I actually want to specialize in hair transplant, which is actually something that I heard Turkey is really good at. So it is for this reason that I decided to choose Turkey. So things like that, you have to relate what your future plans are to your reason for choosing the country, and these things are actually going to increase your chance of getting whatever scholarship that you are trying to apply for, whether it's the Turkey Bursary, which is the one I know much of. That's why I keep on mentioning it a lot. But whether you are trying to apply for any other scholarship out there, you have to put all these four things in mind when writing your intents letter. Now let's move on to how to actually start writing your intents letter. So we are going to start from the beginning, which is the introduction, or should I say the salutation, to the end, which is the closing. So let's get to that one. Before we actually start writing our intent letter, let me just clarify one thing. So I'm just going to write it based on my own information, or should I say information that I'm about to create, because I'm not actually going to give my real details, but I'll just create some information. So wherever you see some details which have to be changed for you, just make sure that you change it. And I'm also just giving you a framework, so you don't necessarily have to copy whatever I say, but just try to form your own letter of intent out of the information that I will give. Okay, so now let's start. So you first start with dear sir stroke madam. Now I am saying this because you don't know who is going to read your letter, whether it's a male or a female. So what about if it's a female who sees it and then you've written dear sir? So she may imply that she's being disrespected in a way or something like that. There are actually some people like that, so I would personally advise that you state both dear sir stroke madam. On your screen you can actually see that I have written it there, dear sir stroke madam. So after writing the dear sir and madam, remember you have to put a comma there. Yes, so you see the comma on your screen. So after that you then move on to the title. So letter of intent or intent letter, you can just write it there. So you just write it there and then you underline it. So make sure that it's underlined. It's always best that you write your title in capital letters. So as you can see, I've already shown how to do it on the screen. So now you then move on. First of all, you have to introduce yourself. So who are you? You have to actually tell them who you are. So even though while applying, you actually kept your details, information, and everything, just try to make it professional. So just try to add these things. So now let's start. My name is Ali Ibrahim and I am a product of Mackwell International Senior High School. Let's say as an example. Now we then put our full stop and then we continue. You have to make sure that you also put the intent, like your reason for writing this letter. So you then state that one too. My reason for writing this letter is to tell you more about myself and the social and educational experiences that I have had in my life. I would also like to tell you the reason why I have chosen this scholarship and how this scholarship program is going to help me achieve my future goals. So we can just take this as our introduction. So just make sure that you keep this introduction a separate paragraph. So you make sure that it separates the introduction from the other information that you are going to put in place. So now let's say we are done with the introduction. This is just a framework I am giving you. You can polish this, you can add more information, much more information, or you can just change the words or do other things to whatever I'm saying. Now when you go to the body, in the body you just make sure that you speak about the social activities we mentioned, the academic activities, or should I say the academic and social experiences that you've had in your life. Just make sure that you state all these ones because it's very, very important in your letter of intent. As I stated, if you don't have any of these, or if you didn't actually get any notable achievements from these things, you can just state that you participated in some of these things. You don't necessarily have to state that I was the best student or I was the best in this sports competition that we did or something like that. You just need to tell them about the experience. So don't try to forge information because, as I said, if you forge information and they go through your documents and they don't see any proof, or they notice that there are some conflicts, they would actually disqualify you from the scholarship program. So your application will not even be considered. So please try to be as real as possible, but put it in a way that will also convince them to accept you for the scholarship. So you make sure that you state your social activities, or should I say your social experiences, and also your academic performances or your academic experience. You don't necessarily have to be the best students to just inform them. You just tell them, okay, for example, I studied 3 years in my high school and I actually took a science course, these kind of things. So you can just explain to them what you have gone through. That's all. Now, one thing I would like to mention about the body is that you don't necessarily have to put all the information in one paragraph. So you can put the educational experience as one paragraph, the social experience as another paragraph. Then you have to also mention your reason for choosing the scholarship program. That's actually part of the reason why you're writing this letter. If you can remember, you stated that in the introduction. So you make sure that you also put that as part of the body, and you also have to put how this scholarship program is going to benefit you towards achieving your goals or towards achieving your future plans. Basically, what I'm saying is that all these four things must be in the body, and please make sure that you separate them by paragraphs. So for social experience, one paragraph, academic experience, one paragraph, reason for choosing this country or this scholarship program, one paragraph, and also your future plans and relating it to your reason for choosing this country too. That would be also another paragraph. So when you are done with all these things, you just come to the conclusion. So as you know, as the name states, conclusion. So you can just actually put a summary of everything there and you just tell them that you are hoping to get the scholarship, because if you are able to get the scholarship, you'll be able to do a lot of things. When writing your future plans to them in the first paragraph of the body, you can actually tell them the other plans that you have, whether it's about helping your country, helping your family. You can even tell them about the background that you're coming from. So if it's a poor family you're coming from, you can tell them, because sometimes to PT can actually help you get scholarships. Yeah, when they see your letter of intent and they see what kind of family you're coming from, and they see that you actually need the scholarship, you actually need it because your family cannot afford it. So since you brought it to their notice that you really need the scholarship, it can also create some kind of affection which can help you get the scholarship. So I would advise that you put your family background in it, whether it's a poor family you're coming from or a middle income family that you're coming from. But I'll not advise you put is that you are from a rich family. That's if you are, because that would basically tell them that you are okay. You don't actually need the scholarship. So please put these things. That's if you are having a need, or should I say, if you actually need a scholarship. Actually, I was talking about the conclusion. So with the conclusion, as I said, you just try to summarize everything that you've kept in your letter of intent and just tell them how hopeful you are of this scholarship, and just tell them that if you are to get the scholarship, you are not going to let them down. You are going to do your best to try and achieve your goals and dreams, and how grateful you would be, and things like that. Now I have actually come to the end of this video and this total concept of the letter of intent. I hope you're able to learn a lot of things from this, because in fact I think I really explained a lot, and I know some of you guys were actually struggling with how to get good content for your letter of intent. So now I have given it to you. I hope it helps in any way, and also, if there's anything that I have missed out in my video, please inform me. If you want to know some things about the scholarship I mentioned, Turkey Bursary, which is Turkey scholarships too, you can ask me in the comments. I have actually created a number of videos, about 7 videos in the past weeks about this scholarship program. So you can also check out my previous videos and get the answers to your questions. I hope you guys have a successful application for whatever kind of scholarship program you want to get into. I truly believe that this intent letter is very important in terms of your success towards attaining the scholarship. So please try and put a lot of importance into your intent letter when writing it. Good luck and goodbye for now.